What's your greatest fear? Are you afraid of the ocean, heights, tight spaces, the dark, maybe? What about the unknown? Or if we look a bit deeper, losing the ones that you love most and being left all alone? If it's any of these things, I have just the indie horror game for you. In this video, we're diving into, pun intended, Still Wakes the Deep, a game that takes some of our worst fears, combines them, and brings them to life. So get cozy and get ready for one of the most intense adventures you'll ever experience.
I still can't believe you went. What are you thinking? Going to that place? Wish you hadn't got yourself into this mess, but you did. You can't run forever. I know you were just trying to do right by me, so I need you to do what's right by us. Now, please, Kaz. I am so tired of fighting. I just want it to be over. I want you home. The girls want you home, but if you don't deal with this, then we are done for good. I love you. But I won't wait forever. Suze.
Jesus, Suze.
Girls made you a Christmas card.
Fuck. Merry fucking Christmas.
Still Wakes the Deep is a game centered around an oil rig worker named Kaz, and based on the introductory dialogue from his wife, Suze, we can see that he's not necessarily passionate about working on this rig, but he is more doing so to run from some issues he's facing back at home. But in his trying to escape from whatever it is, his family seems to be suffering, and we begin to feel the inner conflict Kaz is facing with trying to do what's right, but not really knowing how to go about it. He's made the choice to leave his family, which felt right at the time, but now, he seems to be having second thoughts. The visuals in Still Wakes the Deep are nothing short of amazing, and it's one of the first details that you'll notice.
Stay in this place.
Walking to our first objective, we meet Finley, who lets us know that Rennick, the rig owner, isn't too happy with us. It has something to do with our past catching up to us. We hand Finley our lighter and keep moving forward. It may seem like a small detail, but I want you to remember this.
Alright, I'll see you for darts tonight.
Like I said, the details in this game are insane. Walking into the canteen, we meet Trots, Gibbo, and O'Connor, who give us some more insight as to just what kind of rig we're working on. One run by a greedy and negligent owner who doesn't care about the workers' safety, which seems to be driven by the pressure brought on by the competing rigs.
Right, what do you think, Kaz?
I don't know. Just here to fix the lecky.
And we also get a little bit more evidence that support the claim that Kaz isn't a rig worker by trade and doesn't really have an understanding. He really is here on a desperate whim. The chef, Roy, seems to be the closest person to Kaz. He knows about the situation our protagonist is in, and even asks if he's heard from Suze. He also tells us why Kaz is in trouble. Roy seems to have a steady head on his shoulders for the most part, even telling Kaz that maybe it is just best to deal with the problem. But again, that struggle that Kaz is having with making the right choice becomes apparent in his hesitation toward the idea. In the same scene, we briefly meet Dobby. You may be wondering why I'm pointing out every character that we've talked to thus far. Well, a lot of the times this would be irrelevant because most NPCs are just there to fill the world. In such an isolated and close-knit setting as this, it's likely that we haven't seen the last of them. I also love the sarcasm and the comedy mixed into the characters' dialogue, especially in such a grim setting as this. It gives the cast more depth, which is always good for narrative. Also, as a Manchester United fan, I feel you, Roy. I found myself just looking at random things like this Christmas tree as I walked around. It really is a beautiful game. Even the detail in this menu. I know impressive graphics aren't anything new, and they don't guarantee a game will be good, but it's always good to see this level of detail coming from smaller indie studios. The maps around the rig during this first part of the game give the impression that this is going to be a small map, and they really downplay the environment, but when we step out for the first time, we see that we've just scratched the surface. We meet Muir and Ainz, and in contrast to the first group of workers, they seem to be more carefree and easygoing. at least on the surface. Nothing like the uptight rig owner.
Cleary! My office! And don't make me ask again!
In a better mood today, is he? Could be alright, Kaz.
Upon meeting Roper, we see the drilling in action, but they seem to be having some issues with the faulty equipment. As we've already seen, nothing here seems to be in the best condition, yet the rig is still expected to operate as if it was equipped with nothing but the best.
So mere fucked than ever.
Not as fucked as you by the sounds of it. Look, you better get up there. The busman sounds...
We're tasked with fixing the crew lift for Scooby, and when we finish, we can finally face Rennick. Kaz shows us more of his personality
Technically, it's no shit.
Shut your gob, you Ned prick!
and maybe what got him into trouble in the first place.
The fucking bacon of you he
But
got
where are the subtitles?
Kibbo calls to let him know that there's something in the drill's way, but rather than going to check it out and making a decision based on logic, Rennick just wants to stay on schedule. The only thing that would make him go down and see what's happening is if the crew were to disobey orders, and even then, it wouldn't matter because he'd just drill himself.
Come down there myself!
Is that trouble with the missus? You're fired. You hear me? Fired. Come on, man. It's only a wee bit of trouble with the polish. I'm good with the lecky. I keep things running. You said it yourself.
Out! Get off my rig!
Aye.
We get canned, and this is where Kaz hypothetically goes back home and faces the consequences of his actions. But this is a horror game,
Well, we're running for you, Kaz.
and the story has just begun.
Jesus, Gregor! Gregor!
Get away from me!
Guys, help me! Guys, don't let me die, please! I don't want to die! I don't want to die!
Jesus, just hang on! Fuck! Fuck!
Christ, but you're a right pair. 2 bars and a ball bag.
Now listen, Pat. I promise I'll take care of him. I had a word with our Kieran, you remember him? He knows Billy Chamberlain from way back. Owes me a favour. Reckons he can sweeten Billy up a bit. Come on. Have I ever let you down?
Right, you lost the cake at the wedding.
Now then, that wasn't my fault.
You left it on a bench at Argyle Street.
Aye, you were that bloated you didn't even remember baking the cunt.
Oh, my children, that was before the light of the Lord came to me.
Here we fucking go.
And you, Mr. McCleary, you can fuss and cuss all you like. But perhaps if you went to the Saracens a little less and the Tabernacle a little more, then perhaps you'd not be in this pickle, eh?
Don't look at me. You're the one who decided to spend the next 4 months trapped on a rig with this bampot.
Susan, I promise you, we will get this straightened out.
I will. You'd better.
Guys! Christ! He's gone cold! Shit! Guys!
Get his legs! We can't leave him out here! Move! Fuck! Kaz!
I think he's dead!
We've got you, man, alright? We've got you! He's breathing, thank Christ. Kaz, come on. Wake up, Kaz. Why is he not waking up? Can you hear me?
Is he going to die, Brody?
Kaz?
We wake up in the aftermath of the explosion, no doubt the result of drilling through whatever had Roper worried. Brody and Douglas managed to pull us out of the waters, but Gregor wasn't so lucky, and from the sounds of it, neither was Raph's.
Oh, no! Raph's is still in there!
Under the rig, we get a closer look at what we've unleashed. We still don't know what it is, but it's definitely more than just a gas pocket.
You get close to that! Come back inside!
The puzzles in this game aren't anything too difficult, mostly just objects that you interact with that are meant to make the linear gameplay a little bit more interactive. The quick time events are meant to keep the suspense levels up, but they're not hard to time, so as long as you're paying attention, you'll be fine for the most part.
I'm going to die!
We enter Leg C, and this is where we begin to see even more of just how big the rig really is, and a taste of all the danger we've yet to encounter.
What is that?
Rennick's dialogue here really shows how little he cares about the crew and how hyper-focused he is about making money and keeping his rig open. He doesn't seem to fully grasp the situation, or if he does, he's blinding himself with delusion.
Jesus Christ.
Leg C introduces more of these suspense mechanics, with us having to navigate narrow ledges, but like I said, it's fairly simple to figure out. We also get the torch here, and as you can imagine, this is going to be one of the most important and useful items in the game. We seem to be getting closer to an encounter with whatever monster we unleashed. And just based on the sound and the fact that this game has no combat, this is nothing short of a horrifying thought. Great, some more crawling through vents, my favorite. We eventually meet back up with Finlay, who reveals that Gibbo is behind these awful noises.
What, you seen a ghost? Who's making that noise?
Gibbo, he's making that racket.
Should we no find him, help him?
No, wouldn't recommend that.
Unfortunately for us, it doesn't seem to be the Gibbo we know any longer. This isn't Gibbo, but we get a glimpse of a crew member who has been dismembered by whatever is out there. Navigating these narrow spaces was probably one of the worst parts of the game, especially when things like this kept happening. We get a few more obstacles to solve here, but it's just turning more of these wheels. I will say that this does get a bit repetitive, but my guess is that the devs didn't want to take away from the atmosphere or break the tension by creating frustrating puzzles. We seem to be getting closer to Gibbo, and we hear that he's still able to string together somewhat of a coherent sentence. So whatever is taking over the crew doesn't seem to be something like the T-virus from Resident Evil, maybe more like Las Plagas, or maybe it's just trying to make us think that. Either way, I think we should listen to Finlay and stay away from our old friend. This is not a control hint that you want to see in a horror game. And to be honest, I didn't even bother using it during this part. I was too focused on getting the hell out of there. Remember when I said that there was a reason I kept mentioning the crew members when we first met them? Yeah, it's because as you progress through the game, you get to play a fun game of did they survive or not? And unfortunately for Douglas, it looks like he's been eliminated. Again, it's hard to tell at the moment if these pleas for help are coming from the infected crew or if the creatures have some sort of mimic ability they can use to lure and prey. We get to accommodation in one piece and warm up before continuing the nightmare.
Stop thinking about it, just stop thinking about it.
And we get a call from O'Connor. Thankfully, Bruce and Fergus seem to be okay for now. Unfortunately, we lose them before we can warn them about the path they're choosing to take.
You have to go through accommodation, it's all blocked. Do you hear me? O'Connor!
We also hear Trots, but again, we can't get to him.
Trots? Trots, is that you? I can't hear you, man. Open the door. Trots, the door's blocked. I can't get to you.
And it doesn't sound like we should try, so thankfully we don't even get the option. On the bright side, Roy's okay, and he definitely has the best room in the rig to hide out in.
Jesus, what are you doing in here? What do you think I'm doing in here?
We get more background on their relationship as well. There seems to be a lot of trust between the two, and it makes sense seeing as how they're best friends and all. And it's further shown when Roy seeks reassurance from Kaz by asking him not to leave him.
You won't leave me. It's bloody terrifying out there.
I'm not leaving you,
I
pal.
wouldn't blame you if you did, mate.
I mean, you got all the food in here for a start.
It's nice to see that even in such a horrible situation, they can still crack a joke with one another. I know they're two of the primary characters, so you'd hope that they would have a good dynamic, but this one feels real, and watching their interactions was one of my favorite parts of the game. Our next mission is to try and secure one of the lifeboats to escape in, and on the way, we come across something truly disturbing.
Oh, shite!
I will say, if you're really afraid of heights, this part might make you feel a bit sick.
Shit!
Boyd seems to have met his end off screen here as well. To no one's surprise, Rennick comes over the intercom and tells the crew he's working on sorting this mess out, whatever that means, and expects everyone to just pretend like nothing ever happened and get back to work. I hate to break it to you, Chief, but like half of your staff isn't coming back. Another thing you may notice is the amount of infamous yellow paint. This has been a big topic of debate in the gaming community, and if you plan on playing this, you're going to unfortunately see a lot of it. I'm not going to say it didn't come in handy, especially during some points, but there are times when it seems a bit unnecessary and quite obvious, especially with the railing already being yellow. We get down to the lifeboats, and what do you know? There's still one left. Surely, we're saved. Yeah, you didn't think it would be that easy, did you? We get another phone call, this time from the big man himself, and for a moment, it feels like he's finally starting to realize that there's an actual disaster happening, and he softens up a bit.
Roy's in the canteen. Finlay and Brody are alive.
Listen to me, McClary. Get your ass up to the chopper pad, bring anyone else you can find too, and whatever you do, don't touch this stuff all over the bearer. Concentrate on getting to the pad, don't worry about me.
You see, Rennick?
What?
Well, does this mean we're okay, like? No hard feelings?
Get to fuck, McClary, and when you get back, fuck off again.
However, he goes back to being mean old Rennick in like under a minute, so...
Cheap bastard.
I really love how this little bit here highlights the standards on this rig. Ainz gives us a call not too long after, and we lose another crew member.
What was that?
Something's happening to me. Oh no!
Ennis! Fuck.
Whatever this thing is, it's spreading, and it's spreading fast.
Don't fucking fall.
On our way to get Roy, and hopefully make our escape, we come across Trotz, or what's left of him. Like Gibbo, he's been transformed into one of the monsters, but we actually get to see it this time, and it's not pretty, that's for sure. While the lockers didn't come in handy much of the time, it seems that hiding under things is going to be the primary way to avoid monsters in this game. You can also pick up and throw objects to distract them, and you'll be doing this a lot. You'll see why in a little bit here. I actually almost had a heart attack running from Trotz because, while I again was too much of a coward to look behind me, it's almost just as terrifying hearing this behind you. If you remember from the beginning, we're introduced to the fact that Roy is diabetic, and when we get back to him, he's in not so good of a shape.
Cuz, mate, I'm not going to make it over the deck. I'm not feeling so good, pal. I think I need my insulin.
I'll get to the helipad. Make sure that cunt doesn't try leaving without you.
All right. I'm not useless. I can get there.
All right, plan B, the helicopter. But first, we'll have to get through the first area we saw before the incident. There's just one not so small problem.
No! Help me!
Dobby! Ennis, what you doing up there? That thing will see you.
That thing! It's Muir, guys. It's fucking Muir.
Muir.
Just like Trotz and Gibbo, Muir has transformed into one of them. And if we don't want to end up like Sunil or Dobby, we're going to have to play this carefully. Remember how I said you're going to be throwing a lot of items? Well, if you thought Trotz was fast, Muir is even worse. I died quite a few times here, either from getting a little impatient or not throwing items far enough to create enough distance between me and Muir. He covers a ton of ground since he's so big, so make sure that you take that into account if you play this. The final part of this encounter is getting the lift up and running for you and Ainz to escape in. But as you may have guessed, we'll be making this trip alone.
Come on, lad, come on!
Christ, no! Jesus!
But not if Rennick has anything to say about it. In his typical fashion, he takes off right as we get to the helipad. And it seems that we dodged a bullet.
Should have kept better than to let you two out together. The two greatest minds of your generation united over a bucket. Nobel Prize committee will be warming up their checkbooks already. You seriously think if you leave the country this will all just blow over?
No one's going to chase me out into the middle of the North Sea.
My mum always said I'd married beneath me, Kaz, but I thought you were smarter than this.
I'm fucking doing my best.
No, you're not doing your best. What do you know about oil rigs, you roaster?
Good with the lecky.
Terrace houses, Kaz, flats, maybe a shop, if you're feeling adventurous.
Roy's put in a word. He said I'm up to the job.
Oh, for God's sake. Roy's a cook.
He's a chef.
He's a cook.
It's just for a few weeks. We'll just let it cool down a bit. Then I'll call Billy Chamberlain and have a word. Talk him into dropping the charges.
If you run the police, I'll give you the jail for sure. When are you leaving?
Tomorrow morning.
You are shitting me, McCleary. It's the girls' school concert.
I'm fucking scunner, Suze. What do you want from me?
I'm just saying this, Kaz. If you leave us, if you run, if you go, then we are done. Hear me?
Oh, don't say that. I'm here. Suze. Fucking hell. I'm losing my mind.
Okay, so that didn't go as planned. We keep running. It seems to be what we're good at. After the helicopter crashes and we head inside, we get a phone call from Brody, and unfortunately, we have to go back down to where Gibbo is to get the generators restarted. After all, we're good with a lecky. It's probably no surprise, but we get to see the letter that sent Rennick off. It looks like running didn't have the effect that Kaz was after. So, was all of this for nothing? Did we just lose Suze, our family, and potentially our life, all for nothing? Well, we're here now, so let's keep going. We get a call from Scooby in administration, but shortly after answering, he's killed by one of the creatures.
Fuck!
Was it Gibbo? Well, let's just say that Rennick sort of survived the helicopter crash.
Jesus fucking Christ!
I actually looked behind me this time, and to be honest, I don't know why. Rennick's monster design is one of the most horrifying things I've seen in the game thus far. His design specifically looks like something straight out of a Junji Ito manga, and for being a giant head, he's surprisingly quick, and he can go through walls. I panicked so much that he caught up to me, and it didn't help that one of the routes I was supposed to take was so narrow that it was easy to miss. I know that as soon as you trigger this cutscene, it's obvious that you've completed the chase, but this moment was so tense that I didn't feel any safer, even knowing that. Now watch me Nathan Drake this. We get another call from Bruce, giving us the unfortunate news that O'Connor didn't make it before he inevitably drowned.
Bruce, tell me where you are! Bruce, can you hear me?
Soon, we may be picking up the phone for the last time. We make it to engineering, once again meeting up with Finlay, one of the more resourceful and persistent characters in the game. And she, like Roy, has great banter.
He's fucking vicious.
Doesn't sound like it's changed much to me.
Bazinga!
We turn the generators on, but they quickly fail again, so we have to restart them manually because Kaz has the worst luck in the world.
Aye, and the relay will just keep resetting until we fix it.
It was only a matter of time before we had to face another mutated crew member. This time, it was Adair, Now there's good and bad news here. The good news is that there are more hiding places and items in here, and a dare is nowhere near as big as Muir. The bad news is that it's significantly darker in here, even with a torch, and with it being such an enclosed space, you can't create a ton of distance between you and a dare. He's also able to move around by attaching himself to the walls and ceiling, kind of like Salazar from Resident Evil 4. Flipping the generator switches in this area is one of the more puzzle-like actions in the game, but the clues next to the switches honestly make it very easy. And these types of sequence puzzles are already kind of easy to figure out, even if you're just guessing. But again, I think the idea was to keep the player engaged with the story, rather than raging at a puzzle for an hour. Okay, the last thing left to do is power on the generator with the key, so Finlay can identify the fault. And conveniently, it's where a dare is. These chases never get any less stressful. Some of Adair's dialogue brings back the question we thought we had answered earlier. Are the crew really all the way gone after they transform? Why would the creature need to vent about the rig and its conditions? This may be a sign that this stuff amplifies negative emotions. And that's why these things are so aggressive. And it would make sense if we look back and look at Muir's dialogue. He was more scared of being left alone. Adair is more confrontational, making him a more dangerous enemy. After a suspenseful sneaking session, we get to the relay, and things are finally looking up. That's until we get a call from Brody, telling us that the rig is sinking.
Do nothing. Look, I need you to come down to the pontoons. If we engage the tension winches in all four legs, we can buy some time.
At this point, we see Kaz having a moment of hopelessness.
Alright campers, today's challenge is to find a reason to keep going.
Fucking things, it's a fucking nightmare.
What you on about? You survived this long, haven't you?
But he quickly snaps out of it, and we agree to head down to the pontoons.
Aye.
What do I need to do?
We start with another puzzle. This time, setting the counterweights to the different floor levels to use them as a bridge, and a few more quick time events. I forgot for a moment not to rush through these parts, and I died a couple of times, just from falling, but we eventually get to the first tension leg. During this next bit of the game, we have to do a lot of swimming, which adds another layer of urgency because like in most games, we can't hold our breath forever, and the murky waters make it hard to see where it is you need to go, even with a torch. We also see a lot more bodies in this section. In a twisted way, it's better that these crew members passed rather than being turned into one of those things, for them and for us. For those who just can't get enough of small spaces and water, you're going to love this part. I can't imagine actually having to do this in real life. I think I'd actually just cut my losses here, to be honest. Oh, but it gets worse. This is really where the water takes center stage. It's more than just for the setting like it was during the first part of the game. As I mentioned earlier, the urgency here is obscured vision and slowed movement caused by the rising water. And this made it difficult for me to see a clear path forward during some of the sections, which ultimately led to me drowning. But I did get an achievement though, so that's a plus. Good thing that the yellow paint was there to save the day. We come across O'Connor, who we presume to have drowned, but see that he wasn't able to escape this thing so easily. He hasn't transformed into a monster though. Instead, he's being held hostage in both body and mind.
Go and fetch Mary.
You can hear me, can't you?
However, he can still attack us if we get too close. Luckily, that's the extent of it, and a quick spam of the mouse releases us. We find the second tension leg, and now it's time to head back up. This felt like it could maybe be the end of the game, with the music, the visuals, and the fact that we are ascending through the center of whatever it is that we just released. This was one of the more stunning parts of the game visually, in my opinion, and it was a bit symbolic. Though the game doesn't end here, an imaginative mind could translate this as Kaz dying while on his mission to escape, and heading toward the light, as we tend to say. But since we don't make it all the way up, stopping just before the top, maybe it's meant to represent a near-death experience. to show us that the fight isn't over yet, no matter how grim and pointless this may all seem. We take one last look and head to accommodation, where we check up on Roy. Remember, he's been hiding out this entire time we've been trying to get help, so unlike everyone else, he's completely in the dark, and still doesn't even know about the helicopter crash that happened quite a while ago. So we update him on everything that has been going on.
Is anyone alive?
Aye, I saw Finlay. We had to get the Jennies on, and Brody as well, helping with the tension legs.
Though we don't see it happening, we can hear Roy's condition getting worse. We're running out of time, not just to save ourselves, but him as well.
Sort this rig out. And the way to get us home. See you, girls.
But despite this, he's still keeping his spirits high, and I think this also keeps Kaz going strong.
You're a good lad, Kaz. That's why Suze loves you.
We get a second phone call, but it doesn't come from any of the surviving crew.
Hello? Anyone there?
Here he is. Listen, I don't have long. I left away with my mum. I had to get out. She's hurting me. I'm going off my head.
Suze? Is that you?
Oh.
It seems to be Suze, or is it just Kaz losing it? All of the exposure to this stuff surely has had an effect on him. Mixed with the oily water, it can't be more than hallucinations. The thing seems to be growing as well, which could be amplifying its effects, as we see here.
Suze? Jesus Christ, what the fuck is happening to me?
We make our way to the man himself.
Brody?
He tells us that we have to switch the flare to the auxiliary gas pipe if we don't want to go boom, and once again, we're tasked with doing so. Why is it always us?
It's quite nice in here, you know, maybe we should swap.
He gives us the whole, I mean, I'd do it, but speech before sending us on our way. And if you think we have just the environment to worry about, don't worry. It gets even worse. Somehow, Adair has made his way to the outside of the rig and is patrolling the area that we need to access. After some sneaking around, we make it to the top of the flare, and our immaculate luck kicks in again.
I've started the igniter. Give it a sec. I can't see anything.
Of course you can't, because I'm not that fucking lucky.
We have to light the damn thing manually, and this is where the fun begins.
Understood.
We trigger a chase with Adair.
Fucking joking me!
This one was one of my favorite chases because of where it took place. Despite being linear, unlike the Rennick chase, the damaged flare and the height make it a tense one. So does this part here where we have to break the lock on the door while Adair runs at us. This part was a little weird to me though, because we say, oh, let's see him squeeze through here, but literally just ahead is a wide enough space for him that he can easily get through, but he just decides to give up. I don't know if that's nitpicky, but I thought it was kind of funny. But anyway, we throw the small flare and light the main one, blowing Adair up and saving us for just a little while longer, until...
Can you hear me, Cash? Please, man, hurry!
Gears piece, Suze.
Oh, I'm sorry, love. I'm not being difficult. I'm just trying to pick up the pieces of your mess.
He wouldn't let it go, okay? He's carried a fucking torch for you since school. He's always hated me for being the bigger man and for having you in those beautiful fucking wains.
Oh, no. Bigger man! You are shitting me, McCready. You're the bigger man. Do you think your daughter's got more brains and bigger balls than you have? What about the kids? The flat's in your name. You go to Berlin and they just take it away.
Listen, Suze, come on.
No, you just shut it, McCready. You sit your arse down and you just listen to me.
How can we not just talk about this?
Because I am smarter than you, that's why. And I will not let you drag those girls down with you. You sort this. Whatever you have to do, I don't care. You sort this or I will leave you. You understand?
Suze, look, I'm really sorry.
Just enough. Okay, just get out of my sight. Try not to put anyone else in hospital the day, yeah? That might make a nice change for you.
Why'd you have to... Suze.
After our fall, we wake up under the rig to some really cool visuals. Well, cool to us, maybe not so much for Kaz. The waters are getting more intense, and there's less of the rig to traverse. The effects of this thing are also starting to get to Kaz even more.
Fucking stuff into me.
Making our way through engineering, we come across this interesting note. It's from Finley to Brody, and in it mentions how they lost Kaz, but we're right here and we've been talking to them this whole time. Remember when we made our way up from Lake B and talked about the symbolism of that ascent? Did we actually die and this is just our mind trying to run, just like Kaz has been doing all this time? Or is this just a premature assumption? Not too much later, we meet up with Finley and Brody, and from his reaction, I think that note was written after we lit the flare and fell to the underside of the rig. For the time being, it appears we're very much still alive, and I don't know if that's good or bad.
Aye, I should hope so. Finley, good.
Brody reveals his plan to float the rig to keep it from sinking, or maybe float it to land somehow. His briefing is interrupted by Roy over the intercom.
Marine control.
It's Roy.
Hello, can anyone hear me? I'm stuck up in some fucking hot on the accommodation roof. I don't know how long I can last without insulating.
He's up on the roof. I have to get him. No.
Is anybody out there?
You have to get
He doesn't sound like he's doing too hot, and the panic seems to have set in. Finley and Brody try to convince us to just let him go, but Kaz insists on going back for his best friend, and while it's risky, you can't fault him. Roy has done so much for Kaz, and we've seen just how close the two are throughout the game. If anything, it would have been a disappointing and shocking twist if we would have abandoned him. Like Kaz told him toward the beginning, he's not leaving him alone. To get to Roy, we have to go through the now flooded engineering. I loved seeing the rig changed as the game progressed, each section becoming more damaged and more dangerous, and introducing new ways to traverse them, rather than just feeling like I was running back and forth the same areas. I mean, technically we are, but I never really felt like I knew the map because of this, in a good way. After a long swimming session, we find ourselves in accommodation once again. Like other parts of the game, we have to find new ways to get through accommodation, with past paths being blocked and destroyed. The scenes begin to get even more disturbing, adding to the atmosphere. Whoever, or rather, whatever, is lurking around accommodation is taking far too much joy in their newfound abilities.
fucking poor bastard.
I would have expected Rennick, to be honest, not Trotz. We make our way through the labyrinth of death and destruction to get to the roof access, with Trotz right on our tail the entire time. It was especially horrifying running from him while inside the vents. The sheer helplessness of being in such a tight space is made worse by the thought of one dead end ending it all. As we already know, there's no combat in this game, but Trotz felt like a boss fight compared to the others because, in the end, we actually defeat him in a way.
I've got to go.
After making it past Trotz, we're finally at the roof, and we can only hope that Roy found a safe place to hide.
Roy! Are you up here? Roy! Roy! Roy. Roy. Talk to me, big man.
Unfortunately, in a devastating turn of events, Roy succumbed to his condition.
Roy, don't leave me. I can't do this, man. I'm scared, Roy. I'm fucking terrified.
What makes this death even more heartbreaking, apart from the fact that he's our best friend, and in addition to this heartbreaking call with Finley.
Kaz, you still there? When you're not shouting, I start to worry like. Is Roy making a fuss? Put him on, I'll get him tailed. Kaz, for fuck's sake, what's going on?
Roy's no coming.
Ah, Jesus.
Is that he did everything right. He avoided the monsters. He didn't drown. He managed to survive things that the other crew members weren't able to, but it's his body that failed him.
Well loved the big man, eh?
We'll miss you, Roy. The thing seems to be getting more and more out of control, and the hopelessness begins to set in. It seems that no matter what, the inevitable is making itself more and more apparent. But maybe Marine Control has the solution we've been fighting for all this time. Here, we find Roper, and like O'Connor, he's not quite a monster yet, but he's been affected by the parasite. We move slowly and make our way to the phone. It appears he's not as hostile as the others. Maybe Roper doesn't have that vitriol that the others did, and has nothing that the thing can amplify. Finlay walks us through how to operate the ballast control, but first, we need a key. Luckily, it's in plain sight, but we have to get dangerously close to Roper.
Look after this now, alright?
Here, we see what feelings of his are being exploited by the parasite. fear. Roper is terrified of Rennick. This could point to how Rennick has treated Roper throughout the years. After activating the controls, we have to flood the forward pontoons. Hesitantly, we agree to do so.
What about Brody? Is he no down there?
He'll be out of there by now.
And luckily, it works.
Fucking aye!
Upon leaving Marine Control, we were grabbed by Roper. But honestly, this felt like a desperate attempt to keep us from leaving him here, rather than him trying to harm us. Still, I wasn't going to stick around to find out. Suze's voice is now getting louder, and Kaz's decisions seem to be catching up to him.
Fuck! Am I losing my mind?
On our way to meet up with the others, we have to survive even more water and face off against the game's final boss, Rennick. This chase wasn't as bad as the Trotz chase though, which was a little disappointing. It feels like maybe the monster designs for these two characters should have been swapped, or the chases at least.
You rest in peace, you cunt. Christ, I've got to get the fuck out of here.
In drill operations, we see Finley, but no sign of Brody. It seems that when we flooded the forward pontoons, Brody was still down there, and now he's trapped with no escape. He seems at peace with his sacrifice, though.
I'm already back on Sky. You've never seen water like that, Kaz. Clear, peaceful. You just let go and everything's fine.
Aye. That sounds beautiful.
You go one day. Alright?
No, fuck that. I'm never swimming again after this.
However, Finley doesn't seem to share the same hope.
Deaton, you don't think that matters?
He was always gonna die. Boy, them always. We see that.
Remember the lighter we gave Finley at the beginning of the game? She feels like that's the only way out of this now.
No.
And we find ourselves on the other end of the chase.
Wait a minute! Jesus!
No! Leave me a fucking way!
I have to find a way out, come on!
You kidding yourself? It's this or nothing!
But before she can make it to the center of it all, before she can end this once and for all, Finley is crushed by falling debris. We share a moment with her about life, about the thoughts this thing has been putting in everyone's heads.
Who do I hear?
It's not your Christmas card.
You're my wife. I just want to get back to her, Finley. To my weans.
I hear my boy. When he was wee, you know. I hear him now.
Kate. I'm thinking Kate.
He's singing.
And about doing what's right to save the closest ones to us.
But that can't.
What?
It's not going to stop with us. Fuck's sake, McCleary. For once in your life. Be brave. Be brave for them. You can't save yourself. But you can save them.
Finley gives us back our lighter, and now it's up to us to make the right decision for once. This is the key to ending it, and it's been hours the whole time. All we had to do was just stop running. We entered the derrick.
I'm sorry, Suze. I'm so sorry.
And we let go.
You don't recognise me, do you?
No, sorry, love. You know me.
You could say that. It's been a long time though, Kaz.
Hold up. Susan Lafferty. Fuck's sake, is that you?
The very same. Christ, Kaz, but you look no different.
I've still got the nose, eh?
Well, looks like someone did a good job of spreading it about your face.
Oh, the big man a drink.
Jesus, Kaz. Because I really want to be thinking about Roy right now.
Who looks after me? He fucking adores you know.
Well, I am easy to love, Cameron McCreary.
Yeah. I'm finding that.
Shut it, great Suki Jim.
I do though, Suze. I fucking love you. I love you more than anything in this whole world.
Did that fan pop? Well, you're not so bad yourself, all things considered.
Marry me.
What?
I'm serious. Marry me. We'll make beautiful wains. I want to spend my whole life with you.
She's perfect.
She looks just like you.
Thank God for that. She's got your eyes, though.
My dad's eyes.
I'm sorry, Kaz. I know you'd have wanted him to meet her.
Nah, fuck him. The bastard wasn't interested in me. Why would he care about her?
You loved you in his way, Kaz.
I'll never leave you, Suze. I'll be at your side forever. I'm always going to be here for this Wayne.
I don't understand, was this all just a dream? Not quite. Unlike other games that choose to go with the all-in-the-head plotline, what I loved most about Still Wakes the Deep is the closure.
Kiss the Waynes for me. Tell them I'll be back for Christmas. I'm sorry, Suze.
The decisions we made, the horrors we faced, the lessons we learned, these were all real. And the following dialogue and visuals are more than just a letter to Kaz.
Just wanted to send you this. To say we'll get through it. I know we will. Just take care out there and bring my beautiful big gallus man back home in one piece, okay? I miss you and I love you. And the girls miss and love you. I'm still raging at Roy, but he's a good man and I know he'll look after you. Whatever happens, we will be all right. We can weather this. Just wanted to say that to you, Kaz. To keep you safe and close and make sure you know to come home to us. I love you, Cameron McCreary. Be safe out there on those waters. My man. My love.
This is what I believe to be Suze telling her husband goodbye. Thank you so much for exploring this indie horror game with me. I really enjoyed this one. Please, if you love a good immersive story, I recommend you give Still Wakes the Deep a go. A huge thank you to Guillotine Agency, Secret Mode, and Chinese Room for giving me the opportunity to share this experience with you all. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to stick around. I'd love to have you. And if you want to further support the channel, please consider becoming a channel member. And that's all for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.